Hey pioneers, and welcome back. Our last video was all about trains. We designed some blueprints and then placed some rails all over our world. After that, we placed some train stations and mass dismantled them. But in the end of the day, we ended up with this huge train hub, carrying all of our materials to the desert. So now let's use them to expand our desert megafactory. The plan for today: supercomputers and radio control units. And here we have it. I spent a lot of time with this design. Well, not a lot of time. Satisfactory modeler is great. But I tried a lot of things. Right now, I'm happy with the result. All in all, it's kind of small. We have, 16 manufacturers. This might be a little big, and 21 refineries. But in general, they are small numbers. The biggest important part to reduce the diagram was this segment over here, doing the crystal oscillators out of rubber. I usually, by default, avoid using rubber and plastic because they are kind of tricky to make. But I already have rubber in the desert. If we wanted to create these 30 crystal oscillators a different way, you can check it out. For example, with the base recipe, this turns out to be 30 manufacturers, and we have 25, 22, 28. These are like 75 constructors, almost 1,000 iron ingots. This is another way of doing the same. 30 manufacturers over here, and we have like 50 or 60 constructors. And I searched another way using a little bit of steel, but still all of this was huge. And we're talking about 30 manufacturers. All of this was simplified just by using this alternative recipe. It's called insulated crystal oscillator. That, yes, I had to increase the amount of AI limiters I was doing, but I already was doing AI limiters because I need them for this part of the factory. So yeah, I'm glad I was able to cut all of this from the design. And we have something that's quite simple. What I don't like about this is that I'm using 160 aluminum casing, so that's a big chunk of what I currently have. And well, yes, I'm using rubber, but I think I have like 400 lying around, so it isn't that bad. I'm not using iron, and well, I'm using 1,272 copper. That's also a big chunk of the copper I have, but I have that amount. All of these inputs are already in the desert. So now let's plop the machines. So let's start by this segment over here, the circuit boards. I need 8.4 assemblers, and this blueprint already gives me 12. So I was thinking I could place another one of these on this segment. The only thing is that there's a node over here, and I don't want to build on top of it. So I'll have to come up with a way of reserving space for a future miner. So this blueprint won't have the same distance that all of these blueprints have, but well, stuff that happens. Let's plop us a blueprint. And here we have it. I did something a little bit weird. I raised all of it one level, and it ended up being at the same distance as the other blueprints. But now I can handle all of the logistics here without having to do a logistics floor. And it also, well, makes a more complex skyline. So I think it was a funny idea. We'll have to focus on the decoration and supporting it a fancy way. But well, first segment of the factory is done. And I left here this tiny hole. So now I can place a miner over here. And it ends up being aligned, and we don't lose that iron. That I don't know if I'll ever use. So let's continue. This factory is fed by 21 refineries, that I guess I could do 24 and locate them on this side. So let's get some refineries going. And here you have it. 24 refineries. I divided it into 2 levels. We got 12 and 12. And as they are sending to different materials, we need some copper sheets for our AI limiters and some for our circuit boards. They are clocked differently. So, for example, this one is giving us 19.25, because if we multiply it by 12, those are the 231 we need, and all the other refineries are kind of the same. So what do we have over here? All of the outputs are being merged to one side, and all of the solid inputs are load balanced on the roof. To save space, I've never done this, and I think I should have been doing it. It's pretty cool. So I think that the input of this floor would be that one. Then we have on top of it liquid and packagers connected in a 1-to-1 ratio, so we don't have fluid dynamic issues. All of the empty canisters are being merged and sent to this side, and all of the packaged water is being load balanced on this one, and that would be the input. And well, the other floor is exactly the same, but with a different clock. We can check, these ones are giving us 20.8333. If we multiply it by 12, we got, well, the 250 we need for our AI limiters. And I really like how it's looking. That's using a lot of verticality. So I was thinking that we can do the AI limiters. We need 10 assemblers. And I wanted to, oh, I'm missing a piece of floor. I wanted to make them on this gap over here. I'm going for high density, and I can't be leaving these spaces. So we need 10, maybe I could place 12 and add a little verticality. Let's see how it goes. There we are, 12 happy assemblers. They are load balanced as usual, and with some pretty unorthodox connections. The load balancer for the first material is simple, but the second one I didn't want to clip over here the lifts, so I made it on top of the machines. It looks weird, but it works. We have one input of the materials at the copper sheets that are already connected to the level that creates the copper sheets. So that's already handled. And then we have the quick wire input, that one is that one and the other one would be that one. But I left them like that because we have a total of 1000 quick wire and we can't handle 1000 with one belt. So we will have 2 belts, each one carrying 500. And all of the outputs are on this side and they are all being merged right up to here. That I guess I can easily connect it wherever I want to go. So a lot of progress been made. Let's continue. What can we do now? I was guessing the quick wire. We need 1000 quick wire, and let me move the diagram. There we go. And we could handle this with 21 assemblers. Now I already have the blueprint that gives us 12. So maybe we could do 24. Still, I'm not entirely sure because we need 500 over here, 500 over there, and then we need 900 for another thing. So I would like to see if we can separate all of those numbers. Let's do a quick test. Quick wire, where's my quick wire? Is it done in an assembler? Yes, why? Quick wire, am I blind? Oh, maybe I haven't researched this recipe. I'm designing with a recipe I don't have. Do we have over here fuse quick wire? Now it should be over there. So 1 at 100% gives us 90. So if we do 90 times 12, Okay, so one blueprint can give us up to 1080. So let's plop 3. One will give us 500, the other one will give us 500, and the other one will give us the 900 we need for another module. So they will be quite underclocked and at different rates, but this will help with the logistics. 3 blueprints, let's go. There you have it, 3 happy blueprints. Again, I raised them from the floor to make something a little bit different. And I had to modify them a little bit because usually the outputs are right next to the edges. So in order to do this, I had to extend these corridors and place the outputs and the inputs on the very middle. So we ended up with a lot of raised assemblers, and all of the bells are coming from here. Now, yeah, I know I should stop abusing this blueprint. If not, all of the whole Megafactory will end up looking exactly the same. But it's already done and it saves time. But I need to try to stop doing this. So we have almost everything right now, and I think that we can start doing the manufacturers. Let's think about this module over here. We need 16. And manufacturers are big, so I'm not going to save power on this one. I'm going to place 16 of them. Somewhere around here, I guess. Or wherever I find a cool spot. So let's plop some manufacturers. And there you have it. Nico went vertical. I don't know, probably because I hate my life. Building this took way longer than if I just laid everything in the ground. And yes, I did a blueprint, but it doesn't include everything because, as you can see, it's not the same thing copied and pasted. I could have blueprinted all of it if I connected it through a manifold, but Nico doesn't like manifolds. So yep, it's load balanced. And I love how you can follow the bells, the weird pattern they make. So all in all, I'm happy with what I made. Not with the amount of time I spent making it. And yeah, the decoration is missing. This will end up looking better. So all of the inputs come through that tower over here. And they don't even clip, it's beautiful. So 2 inputs are pointing that way because they are rubber and quartz that come from my train station, and the other input is pointing that way because this is our AI limiters, and our AI limiters are coming from that merger. So there you got it, the most awkward way of doing 16 manufacturers. 8 floors, 2 manufacturers per floor. Now we are closer to plopping all of the machines, so let's focus on this segment over here, the computers. We need 15 assemblers that could be solved by 2 of these blueprints, but I'm not sure if I wanna keep on placing the same blueprint over and over again, because we are risking that everything will look exactly the same. But well, I will be doing that. And here you have it. I poured all of my creativity on this one, and I'm kind of glad with the result. We've got, why on earth am I using Jetpack? Nobody will ever know. Okay, we've got 4 floors, each with 4 assemblers, and they are shifted 45 degrees. So they end up looking quite nice. We can see that the outputs are handled on these circles. So they start over there and they go all the way around. And then they go lower. And they go all the way around. And so on. They go lower, all the way around. Lower and all the way around. So this would be my output. And regarding the inputs, all of it is load balanced because load balanced. And it's all symmetric. I mean, all of this part is the one that does the load balancing, but the load balancing between the floors, for example, this lift, I just placed them as I could. Because also these foundations are shifted from those foundations. So doing it a neat way, it was kind of impossible, so I didn't care that much. But the inputs are on this floor, I think. Yeah. That's the input of one material, and that's the input of the other one. But what happened? I did the first floor, plopped the machines, the logistics, and I still wasn't sure if this was possible. I mean, doing everything in a circle while shifting it, it's kind of a risky idea. So I said, well, let's do the second floor. And I did the second floor, and I still wasn't sure. I was liking what I was doing, but I said, well, let's do the third floor. And when I did the third floor, I should have realized that I'm touching my rail. All of these should be one foundation moved to the farther away that side. But I didn't realize. And when I plopped the fourth level, it was at this moment that I said, holy crap. And usually I would have mass dismantled everything and shifted it one foundation. It's what I've been doing so far. When I make a silly mistake like that, I tell myself, oh, that will trigger you every time you see it. You should start over. But well, at the end of the day, we are playing a game, and the point of playing a game is having fun, and having to redo all of this wouldn't have been fun. So this is the first time that I said to myself, deal with it. So yeah, we have a really good structure that it's kind of in the limit. And probably I will be placing some glass that... Well, there will be problems, but I'll figure that out later. Problems for future Nico. It's amazing sending all of the problems to future Nico. If I'm too desperate, I realized that I have a column over there and a column over there, so I could make this rail shift a little bit, and it would kind of seem that it's avoiding the building. Well, it would be avoiding the building, and shifting this rail is way easier than shifting all of this. So, well, decisions were made, mistakes were made. It will be kind of tricky to decorate all of this, because I usually place stairs on the sides, but you can't place stairs on a circle. So I have no idea how to connect all of the floors. Maybe I don't, but... Or I would have to do something like the stairs would follow this pattern and connect every 90 degrees or something like that. But yeah, it's not kind of possible to connect all of these because I went for a weird shape. But it looks kind of cool. So, yeah, cool. Now, I'll consider this done. These were, I already forgot, the computers. Yeah, 3.125. If we do 3.125 times 16, the 50 computers we need. And now we are only missing the last stage that I minimized the program. Let me check. Yes, the supercomputers and the radio control units. For the radio control units, we need 4 manufacturers, and for the supercomputers, we need 5.33. So I was thinking, let's do 8 and 8, and in a flat place. I'm done with verticality for now. I need to end this. So yeah, now it's time to plop some manufacturers. But check this building. It's kinda neat, right? Yeah, you're forced to say yes. And I couldn't. My brain was itching. I couldn't leave it like that. So yeah, I made the rail go the other side. And it's not centered, but I think I can live with that because that depends on the columns, and the columns are spaced all at the same distance, so I wasn't going to change that. But at least we are no longer touching our build. Barely, but we are not touching it. So now, yes, let's play some manufacturers. And no, I don't need therapy, not at all. And here you have it, all of the manufacturers. It ended up being a little cramped up, but I like it. And this is mostly because I load balance everything. Nico doesn't like manifolds. So how does this work? This is one input for the set of machines that divides evenly among that column and that column over there. Then if we, for example, follow this column, it divides evenly between that column and a column right over there. And each of these columns divides against two manufacturers. So yeah, it's a load balance that goes on both sides of the machine. But look at this, it ends up looking really cool. I like it. All of the outputs are being merged a little bit higher on the sides and are being taken right over here. That I guess I could send them underground because there's a lot of room here, so I could do my output management somewhere around here. And with that, we plopped up our last machines. Now, what do we have to do? Well, the first thing and the most challenging one will be connecting all of these modules to one another. Then connect everything to the power grid, which is going to be a boring activity. Lastly, we need to handle all of the inputs and the outputs, meaning connecting it to the train station and do some sort of output management, and then decorating. So in order to save some time, I will do all of that in one go, and on the next clip we will be showcasing the final result. So, wish me luck! Well, it seems like Nico was getting ahead of himself. We are missing quite a few things. Well, the water packaging, and also the high-speed connectors. I completely forgot about them. But the high-speed connectors, I will do it off camera. But I still wanted to talk about the water. What issue do we have? We need 481 water per minute. And each water extractor gives us 120. Meaning I need 4.008333. I can't place 4, it won't work. So usually, from 4 I skip to 6. But as you can see over here, let me go back to the hover pack. We don't have space for 6 water extractors. I place 5 and we are already almost drying this lake, river, creek, whatever it is. And the issue of placing 5 is that load balancing is hard. And I know there's no need to actually load balance, it's how I like playing the game. But anyway, if I had to choose where I want to load balance, is in this stage. The empty canisters, I want to distribute them equally and not having to fill each of these packages with empty canisters until the next one starts. So, how do you load balance 5? Well, in this case they are 10, but it's the same because there's a splitter in front of each one of them. So it's like we are load balancing 5 machines. And it's over here. Here's my load balancer. We have this splitter that is splitting among 2 ways. And each one of these is splitting 3 ways. So that gives us 6. And we wanted 5. So what do we do with the extra one? We merge it at the beginning. This is called a load balancer with feedback. I had never done one of them in this world so far. I usually avoid this. But it has all of the benefits of load balancing. It's not immediate, like load balancer starts to 100% the moment you connect them, but they are extremely fast. And the fun fact about them is that the startup time doesn't depend on the amount of materials you're sending or producing, it only depends on the length of the feedback loop. That in this case is really small, so it will start up almost immediately. And another thing to note if you ever do something like this, is that this segment of belt between the merger and the splitter will be going at a higher speed than your input belt. Around 20% more, but it depends on it depends on your numbers. So if this belt was absolutely saturated, we couldn't be doing this. Lucky for us, 481, it's way far away from 780, so that's how I managed. And I placed my first load balancer with feedback. Okay, so now I will do the high-speed connectors and all of the other crap I need to do, and let's turn this factory on. We are done. Everything is working at 100%, and I must admit, I'm really glad with the result. This Megafactory is starting to look as I planned. Complex, with a lot of stuff going around. This belt bus is absolutely filled up. And well, this was kind of what I was going for. And it's still small, it will continue growing. So let's make a breakdown of the decorations. For example, the main manufacturers that are doing the crystal oscillators. I thought I would do it an open concept like these blueprints, but at the last second I decided to make it an actual building. As it wasn't planned for that, it's kind of short on the inside, but well, you can still walk around. There's decorative belts, because I'm Nico and I do decorative belts. And to save time, almost everything in here, it's a blueprint. Blueprint. That's another blueprint. So yeah, each floor is different, but it's made of smaller blueprints, so it didn't take that much time. Now let's go to the top. There's nothing really interesting on the very top. So on the top I simply placed some lights, some computers, cool place to play Minesweeper, and well, there's a tower that takes you to a lookout tower. Did I add a ladder? Yes, I did. It ended up being taller than my control room. That wasn't the plan. I was hoping the control room would be the taller structure of the Megafactory. But well, shit happens. Now let's continue checking out what I've done. This was the first blueprint I placed, and I made this pillar to support it. As usual, the signs I placed describing each module, and in this case we have the decorative bells right there. Then over here we have our AI limiters. Not much going on here, but yeah, I did add catwalks. Everything is connected via catwalks. Good factory to play, the floor is lava. Now regarding the refineries, I added stairs on the sides. That I think it takes ages to climb through the stairs, but you can if you were patient enough. And well, they are supported by these massive columns with some belts going through. Now, this is our circular building. I also didn't know if I wanted to do it closed or open, but I ended up doing it closed. There wasn't room for stairs, mainly because I shifted the machines 45 degrees between floor and floor, so that made it impossible. But if you want to walk, you can take these weird stairs on the sides. They do the job. And as there's not much space to walk through, each floor has some catwalks. Not that I will ever walk through here, but if I wanted to, I can. And I think that the only one that's worth checking, the only floor that's worth checking is the top one. I made something fancy on this one. There we go. The same thing, but we have another tower in the middle with a lookout tower. going full with verticality. Now, well, these are the 3 blueprints that are doing quick wire that are also raised. I did have an issue with this one because it's producing 900 quick wire, and you can't carry 900 quick wire on one belt. So I had to get creative and I split the outputs. These 4 assemblers and those 2 assemblers, the output goes that way. And these 2 assemblers with those 4 assemblers, the output goes that way. So we end up with 2 belts, each one carrying 450 quick wire, and they are connected to this load balancer from opposing sides. This segment over here is the one that I didn't show on camera. These are the high-speed connectors. They are 12 load balance assemblers. I did the load balancing different than on the other cases, just to keep it fresh. And decorative belts, because that's what I do. So what else can we show? This is the last stage, the one that creates the radio control units and the supercomputers. The main summary page of the whole factory. I'm consuming 3.3 gigawatts, and that's quite unfortunate. But well, we'll talk about that later. Decorative belts on these sides. And I made, this whole factory has no logistics floors, but it has the output management that it's right over here. And I don't think it counts as a logistic floor because it's just the containers and the dimensional depot. And a lot of power storage because I needed somewhere to place power storage. All of my factories need to last a long time if they get disconnected from the grid. So yeah, that means a lot of batteries lying around. This factory lasts for almost 2 hours. Not that much, but well, it's a good number. This is the water packaging sector, and this is the load balancer with feedback. We can see that this is the feedback loop, and then we are evenly splitting among these 5 belts. And each of these belts is splitting among 2 water packagers. So yeah, this is the last segment of the factory. I made a cute balcony over here, just to make something different. And that's, I think, everything I did. I probably did more stuff that I don't remember, but you get the idea. Back in my control room, I did want to talk about power consumption because we run into trouble. Here you can see that while I'm using 18 gigawatts a day, 21 at night, I'm producing 25, so everything should be fine, right? Well, it's not. I had to turn off my Hypertube network. I'm currently in a power deficit. If it's on, I'm using batteries. Yes, it will last 158 hours, but I can't leave it on. That means that every time I want to move through my map, I need to turn it on and then turn it off. Which is quite annoying. I use a lot my Hypertube network. So yeah, that's an issue. I need a power plant as soon as possible. And the thing is that I can do nuclear, but I still can't do clean nuclear. And I want to do clean nuclear. The other option would be rocket fuel, but I kind of don't want to do it. I don't find it that interesting. So for the time being, I will keep on squeezing every electron I have available and see if with this gap I have, these couple of gigawatts, I can unlock everything that's needed to be able to make clean nuclear power. Or if not, I'll do rocket fuel. I don't know, that's for a further video. So here we have it. The Megafactory is starting to look like an actual Megafactory. Oh, I didn't show it at night. There we go. It's not that there are a lot of lights, but we have some. Now, Does this look like what I was going for? No, not at all. But to be honest, I don't mind. I love how it's looking. It's different than what I was aiming for, but this is also really cool. This is Nico's way of doing a desert megafactory. Big Booty Tom did something amazing, but well, each one of us have our own styles. Now, there are a couple of things that worry me. For example, this belt bus is already starting to get really full. And I'm even cheating a little bit. I'm taking some belts under it. So yeah, it might be challenging if I keep on growing, or I will have to think about a different way of doing this. And another thing that it might not be clear on the video, but my frame rate is starting to decrease. My computer is hating me. But yeah, if it's needed, I'll buy a new computer because I'm doing this. I'm loving how it looks and I want to expand it so that up to the horizon we can see a megafactory of this complexity and density. So I'm extremely happy with the result. And this wraps up today's video. Did you guys enjoy it? If you did, please consider helping the channel just by leaving a like or a comment. Even if you don't know what to comment, just tell me, what can we discuss? What's your favorite movie? Mine is... wow, that's a hard question. I don't know what my favorite movie is, but I can give some candidates. I really enjoyed the Lord of the Rings ones, the original 3, not all of the nonsense that came afterwards. Or maybe Back to the Future. I also love the Back to the Future trilogy. Or, well, I would have to think about it. I didn't think about it and I started talking. I need to stop doing that. And well, if you don't like this content, just let me know why. Tell me how can I improve? How can I bring more people into this channel? Well, hope you guys had a good time. You took some ideas from what I've done here. And I'll see you all in the next one.